Here we are with another Saturday Night Live Zoom, Saturday, May 11th, 2019. And thank you all for joining and inspiring each other and supporting each other. As you can see, a few of the ones who keep going. And the other ones will find all the excuses to not make changes in their life. But that's okay. That's everybody.
Thank you for being here. That's good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It's good to be together, you know, like meet up and update each other about how we're doing. I mean, we want to progress together, right? So
yeah, like I said,
our ups and downs.
You know, way back years ago, you know, it was one thing, but nowadays I find support is even more crucial than it's ever been. Just because just so much is going on in life, it's so fast paced and stuff, and people, we lose track because we're so busy in our lives with everything and going on. So the support is just something that is going to only help everyone, and that's why we keep doing this. We're still here, almost 4 years.
Yeah, and thank
every
you
week,
for being
every
with
day
us.
on the page.
We hope to, you know, to grow on Zoom. I mean, it would be nice to have more and more people on Zoom so we can share more information, like live.
But yeah, what's going on with everybody?
Everyone's really good. I can assure you.
Yeah.
But I like
Awkward
Steve.
silence there, huh?
Yeah, I know. But Steve's got some exciting news because you, I think you started again today, Steve. Hey.
Yes. Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
And how you feeling with starting after your break and master fasting again? What's the difference?
It was hard to get started.
Yeah.
Very difficult to start.
Yes.
It's that first day. Once I get even intermittent during the week, I get through the first day, I'm okay. It's getting through that first day is tough. So today's dry. I feel great. I did a lot of work outside. Energy's way up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I've been going for 3 decades, because
it's different.
I love fasting way more. And sometimes it will take you those extra few days or weeks to just get into that mindset and get into it. It's okay, but this is the way it goes. It goes into those cycles. But the fasting is, I don't know if addictive is the right word to use, but it's such a draw and a pull for me in my life that, yeah, I love to eat, but that fasting never goes away. It's always in my mind. When I'm eating, what's my next fast?
Yeah. Unless you stop practicing and then you kind of forget about it.
Yeah, like,
you have to practice.
We were talking about, you know, when you do these long ones, then you go back to eating. It's a big challenge for the body to switch again from, you know, you're eating whatever before and you get on a long fast, long digestive vacation, and the body's doing amazingly well adapting to that, because it does. Ain't no problem.
Yeah.
With the master fast system protocol that we have, it's no problem for people to do that. 90% of people don't have challenges. 5% have some challenges, and 5% probably have quite a few challenges. And it depends on, you know, their lifestyle prior, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but eating after a long fast is like downgrading.
Yeah,
it is like downgrading, right?
Yeah, the biggest challenge for people that when they break their fast is they go back to 7 days a week eating, and that's a big no-no. Big no.
I didn't have that happen, but the overeating, I couldn't control the overeating.
Yeah. It's not. It's like something goes that is running your body. That you have no control over it.
Yeah.
You have control over it. It's just that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Right. It's just I gotta keep. You know, these things happen, and you know, you'll go in phases over the years. You'll go in phases where you break fast, and you know it's no problem. And then you'll have another fast later on, and you have a problem again. So it's a reflection of what's going on in our lives emotionally, you know, because there's always stuff going on. And
Well, this is different. I don't know what's different, but something's different here.
the fast,
I'll keep you posted on what it is once I put my finger on it.
you mean this fast?
Going into this fast, yeah.
So
I don't know what shifted. Something shifted.
did you start with dry, or you started with liquid and today's dry?
1 day liquid yesterday, dry today.
Good. Yeah, that makes it a little bit easier to wash.
Like I say, my intention is 21 days at least, but I'd probably go to 40.
Yeah, one day.
40 sounds better because that's what Jesus did.
Yeah, you put the intent of where you want to be, and then just take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
Do food free today, I'm food free today, I'm food free, and see where it goes. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes you go longer, sometimes you want to break it earlier. It's no big deal, because when you're living the lifestyle, you know, okay, you're back on eating, but then you're thinking about your next fast because
All day long.
right, yeah,
All day long.
you know, it's a real challenge to get that information out that, you know, this is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's not an event. And 99% of people don't get it, no matter
I think it's
how
important.
much we try and explain it.
Yeah, no, I
Don't get
think we're going to make some adjustments and we'll make some options where people can eat, let's say, master fast 1 day a week or 2 days a week.
One day's dry fast, so 2 days a week minimum. Would be somewhere people can
Like
try and start.
Or if when you break your fast, you know, at least do 2 days a week, you know, because even 1 day a week is not enough really. 1 day a week is not enough after a long fast.
No, it's
The body wants
6 days a week eating is too much.
Doesn't like it.
It's
The
too
body
much.
doesn't like it.
It's just, especially for somebody who's come off a long fast, 40 plus days, it's just way too much food.
Yeah.
Way too much.
Yeah.
It's a shock to the body putting all that food through the system.
With
Even
no
if they eat
break.
clean, you know. See the GI tract, the whole misnomer about mucusless diet, mucusless foods. We've shared this before. All foods create mucus. I don't care what food it is.
Yeah.
Even fruit. The
That's
fruit, out of all the foods for us humans, it's the least mucus forming and the least obstructive. We know that is very clear. And depending on different fruits, like if you go into more of the fatty fruits, they're more obstructive, right? And you can feel that, even though they're fruits.
Oh yeah.
You can feel the heavy fruits, like you go to durian, or so the olive, then you go to durian, then you go to avocado, and you feel the heaviness, or coconuts, or whatever. Coconut's not really a fruit to see, but you can feel that, and that's why we like to say the answers are always in plain sight. When you pay attention, you understand that. So when the beauty of when we start cleaning up that gunk from the GI tract, which is probably something that nobody's ever experienced, even being in our mother's bellies, because our mothers never ate and never fasted and so on and so forth, right? So our GI tract probably had residue in our mother's tummy. It would have probably the least, because all the energy goes to the baby, you know, when the mother's pregnant. All that.
Same thing with breastfeeding.
The best quality energies go to the baby. So, but even that said, if the mother's on a very obstructive diet or whatever diet, the baby's going to have obstructions as they're being born. As you can see, the weakness in genetics right from birth and so on and so forth. So
yeah, that's not even genetics.
When we do this
yeah.
long fast, like when you're getting into probably around at least 50, 60 days, you're doing a pretty good cleaning. And you go beyond that, you're doing a much better cleaning. And once you get to that state, you're exposing the villi, which are loving, absorbing fields without any matter. They're just loving it. And you can feel that when you're on these long fasts, and you're getting, some days you're there, where is this energy coming from, right? I'm sure you've all experienced the touch of that. And it's just that wonderful, blissful state, and you go, why do I eat? When you're in that state, right? So this is what we're talking about, field interactions. This is how the body's working. And then, after all that, we go back to eating. And what does the body have to do? Number one, as soon as you put food, I don't care what it is, even fruit, we put food into our system. And what has to happen? The body immediately has to start building a protective layer again. Okay? And this is the feeling that makes people not feel good when they break their fast. It's that feeling the body protecting itself has to build that protective layer because you're putting physical matter back into the system. So the body's going to start building that mucus layer because the body is what builds mucus. It's not the foods. It's not the foods that heal you. It's not the foods that feed you. It's the body that does it through the soul, etc., etc. So we put the food back in, and the body's going to start building that. And for people who want to go back to their old ways of eating, if anybody who's experienced that, I have, it's going to take time for the body to readjust, and you're going to feel horrific when the body's working on building that mucus layer again. It's a horrific feeling, but people will do whatever it takes to keep eating and gain that feeling back to where they were in that numbness feeling, right? Because they're driven to do that for whatever reason, and I've been there, so I understand. And it's going to take time. It'll take months. That's why we say breaking the fast takes at least twice as long as the fast. Like you do 180 days, you're going into a year's time for the process of breaking that fast. If you're eating more days a week than you should be, it's going to be a lot harder on you because the body loves to be in the light state, meaning working on fields versus the matter state. And there's a fight between the spirit and physicality and the emotions of which place it wants to be in. But then we have all the influences, right, around us. And we're getting dragged down because the influences around us are usually in the lower field strengths because everybody's eating and they're trying to bring you down to those levels. And for most people, the path of least resistance, meaning it's easier to join people and eat than it is to say no and continue on your lonely path. People feel it's lonely, right? They feel they're missing out on something. So it's easier to be involved and continue back to where you were. And then this is where you find all the moaning and complaining, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, people breaking their fast. But when you gain the understanding, without a doubt, it's all part of the process. And only you are in control, and only you can make the changes. And only you can control how much you eat and how much you fast, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So once we understand that, how do we do it and how do we maintain it? Well, a support system is the best thing I've found. Without a support system, you're in that lonely space out there, and people don't like to feel in that lonely space, so they go do things that they used to do.
Also there are some people with binge eating, like I can eat and keep eating and keep eating. Like I had this long ago. I mean, and it came with being lonely, living alone for a while. Maybe depression, I don't know what it was, but I definitely went to food for comfort, but like I certainly abused my body doing it. And I don't see many people like me. Like I don't think any of my siblings are like me. Maybe one is a little bit, but she was not lonely for a long time. She was not living by herself for a long time. So I don't think it's for people usually who live on their own. I feel the binge eating, like you can eat a pizza and then you can still feel that you want to eat something else, even though you're extremely full, but you want to continue eating because punishing yourself kind of. And I don't know if you have ever been through this. Have you been through this kind of emotional, like
everybody? I'm sure everybody's experienced some degree of it.
To different extents, yeah. But for many people, I think, and not everybody. Okay, some people, including me, this was a big problem, and it came back after the master fast, 100%. And it's a little bit like, yeah, it's kind of scary. It feels horrific, especially after when your body's cleaned out. You don't want to do that. But it's a learning process. And the best thing is to just get back on the fast and quiet the mind and enjoy life, because it really is not that hard.
Keep busy. You got to keep busy.
Yeah.
The mind slows right down.
Yeah.
Immediately. Almost immediately. Within hours, everything was slowing down.
Yeah, 100%.
We got to keep busy in things we love to do.
Yeah.
If you're just floating around, nothing to do.
The first day is the hardest.
Yeah, it's
The first day.
I was in my greenhouse all day with my plants. I was in heaven.
exactly right. See, when you
yeah.
want to do something, you don't even think about food. Think about when we were growing up. I don't know about you guys, but I used to be outside playing.
Yeah.
Parents calling you in to eat. Well, we don't want to eat. We're going to play.
No.
And all day, you've been out there all day, and they're yelling and hollering. You got to come and eat, right? So just think about those states. Who ever thought about food?
No,
It
something else.
it was ingrained in us that we had to eat, right? And they did the best they did. You know, we love our parents and so on and so forth. With the information they had, they did the best they could. But I'm just saying, you know, you can see the program, how it was all structured, because it's done through all societies, most of them. And it's a big challenge for us having that program in there. And you know, you can never erase it. It's impossibility. But you can put it deeper and deeper back into, you know, as you like compared to formatting a hard drive. The more times you format, the harder it is to retrieve the information. But you can always retrieve it. You just got to spend more money if it's been formatted a few times. It's always there. Always there. You can't erase anything that's happened in creation. It all is. It's always there, and it always will be. So all that memory and everything is always there. But we can control and put it, you know, further and further.
Accept it as well. Make peace with it.
Yeah, into an area where we don't have to access it readily. It's there, but you know, we don't have to pay attention to it. So
I think Gino, from my personal opinion, like to bypass that, you're talking about the subconscious, so that those programs, right, and those habits and the conditioning which come through your mum and your genetics. I find the only way is you have to be above the mind and be in those meditative states, because when you view them, as we all know, they're all like little forms of videotapes to me. And you're not actually you're connected, but you're not connected to it. And that's what happens when you start eating. I feel like even though I enjoyed the taste of fruits and things like that, enjoyed the sensations, I knew the date, even though I started a week and a half earlier, but I knew that the 1st of March was when I was going to go fasting again. And what I did, I focused on the feelings that I had when I was fasting and what it made me feel like to get through that second month of breaking, because it was the second month that I found that I never did any binge eating, Rana. I never got into binge eating, and it could be because I stayed to the dry protocols, I'm not sure, or that I was focused on my next fast, or that I did heaps of study on here with people with their breaking and the challenges that they had. I'm not sure all of it. I understood the aspect of binging, like I kind of intellectually knew that. But when you start fasting again, Steve, you might have this experience now that your soul or your spirit or something already knows when you were in your fasted state. And then when you start fasting again, what it felt for me was like you're back home, right? So I find fasting to be, or having that GI tract pretty clean as your natural state. It is actually your natural state, and your body's remembering that. And then, as Gino said before, you're having that battle, you know, when you're back in eating again, there's this battle going on. And I actually think it's a spiritual battle rather than a mind or a physical battle. Yeah, because what happens is you can't understand it. So if you can't understand it, you're in the unknowing place. And know how you can understand it, because you know the soul's saying you're with me, so why are you, you know, going back to the physical? Because you've gone so far, like with what you've done with such a long fast, that, you know, and it actually isn't really a long fast. You know, if you really think about it, on the context of living here on this planet, it's not really that long. It's just sort of trusting in the soul again, isn't it, Gino? Like, you know, trusting in God and your creator, and surrendering to that, in that unknowing place, that you're okay. Because, you know, I still enjoyed my break. I still enjoyed parts of the eating process and things like that. The only thing I didn't enjoy was towards the 2 months, I could feel myself getting obstructed, and I could feel myself getting numbed out, and I could feel myself not falling into my meditative states. I could feel myself, I had to push myself to do things where before, like, I don't push myself. It's a pull. It's a pleasant state when you're fasting. Everything seems to be at ease. Emotions are at ease, and everything's just a very different way of looking at things. And you miss that, I feel. Does that help with what you were saying, Gino and Steve? I don't.
Mhm.
Does it sort of relate? Yeah.
Of course.
And
It's
so
it's a very interesting state, because like you said, it is our natural state. I don't believe we were ever meant to eat physical foods.
Or
Where,
we're
where,
ever meant to be uncomfortable
yeah, where it all started, it doesn't really matter.
all the time.
You know, when it started. But we're here, and we've chosen to be here, from my understanding, and to go through many experiences. So part of these experiences is eating and whatever, and we wouldn't be doing it if we weren't supposed to be doing it. We're here to experience that. And now that we've accessed information otherwise, we have the information that on how to go back to our remembering state of where we came from, meaning a state where we don't use physical foods. We use energy exchanges, right? And you know, a lot of people will go to the liquids type of diet, right, instead of actually eating. That's where a lot of people will go to actually live on absolutely nothing. There are people doing that, but it's much fewer. And as time goes on, it'll be more and more and more, as this information keeps expanding out there, because we're all part of the same. And once it hits a certain amount of people, it gets into that critical mass state or whatever. But like I said, if we eat until the day we pass, all of us, who cares? So what? You know, if we're having some food. But, you know, we understand that we're living in that pranic plasma light state with consciousness of it, and we can expand that more and more and more as time goes on, if we choose. Because
Yeah.
you know, we've already all dabbled into it and understand it, but just as time goes on, you're going to go a little more and a little more and a little more, if that's, you know, your focus.
I believe we're born with it.
Yeah, we're just going back into a memory.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
we're born with it, and then as you know, we become older, we're accumulating obstructions, and then the older we become, you know, the more sick we are, you know. And when you fast and start cleaning and cleaning and cleaning, master fast being, you know, the best that I know, to strip the waste out of us and the obstructions, then we experience reversing aging, like in every way. I mean, the skin gets better, the nails get better, the hair gets better. I mean, like,
And this is the fallacy of
amazing.
nutrition. This is the fallacy of nutrition, where everybody else pretty much out there is focusing on you need, you're not lacking, you're missing. And on all these years, I've not seen any of that stuff help. It was always the fasting state that helped me. And you know, it was in plain sight, but it took me a while before it really triggered and man, oh man, did I miss the boat. Same thing with the water and everything else. It's the no-thing state where the magic happens. It's the state where the soul does its magic. Let's put it that way. It's the state where the soul can do its magic because there's no interference with any of those physical obstructions in the physical body, and then it can work and do whatever it needs. It'll create whatever it needs the body. You know, things start correcting itself and everything. Like nutritionally, if you think about what you're doing inside of a full master fast nutritionally, what is it? It's alcohol, some plasma pudding, which is all dead, you know, dried out stuff. There's nothing, it's clay, there's nothing, it's charcoal and the psyllium husk. And you know, and the tea, what like, you know, the most substance that you can think of is probably in the tea and a little bit in the tincture. Like, really, what's there nutritionally as far as what we've been taught? The grape juice. It's dead sugar. Dead sugar.
It's really and the best time we feel our best when we're dry fasting. We feel even better.
Yeah, but nutritionally, if what they're saying was true, how can the body start correcting and repairing itself you know, way below of what they're telling us that we need nutritionally every day? And we're going on, the more months you go on, the more it starts correcting itself. So how can any of what they're saying be true? Because it can't be. The answers are in plain sight
you
for
have
me.
to experience it to start changing your beliefs, right? You have to experience it.
And the real magic is really on the dry fast, when there's absolutely no thing physically. That's really where it all happens. When we go into the wet cycle, we're washing.
Yeah.
Our focus is washing. It's nothing to do with calories. People keep bringing up calories. We're not getting.
But it slows down the detox too, right? It slows down the detox,
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, of course it slows it down.
Because you don't want to be detoxing.
You know, if you've done a long dry fast for 3 days or whatever, or more, and then when you start drinking, the body's going, whoa. Right? It's going, like whoa, this is work. What are you doing? Just drinking.
That's true.
Just drinking. You know?
You know, I woke up tired when I was eating.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I noticed from the fast, because I wasn't tired. I was, by the end, 40, 45, 50 days, 3-4 hours a night, I was fine.
How
now 6 hours and I'm getting up and I'm tired.
Yeah. How long did that tiredness last? Did it dissipate a bit?
As soon as I start eating, it happens almost immediately. I don't.
Yeah, you feel
I
it.
sleep longer and I wake up tired.
No, I know, but after, I don't know how many weeks that you broke the fast, that you've been off.
Oh, I don't know. It's probably been 6 weeks
Okay, that's not too
since
long.
I broke it.
You know, near the end, like you're kind of getting used to the state. Kind of, you're not as tired as you were when you start breaking the fast immediately, right? Yeah, because the body's, you know, reworking itself to use that digestive process, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, you know, when I'm in a fasting state, after a few weeks, I'm sleeping 4 to 6 hours max. As soon as I go back to food, what it is, I'm at that 7-8 hours. That's the body needs that.
And the sinuses get congested too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
So
there's no comparison.
if you're not paying attention, you're not going to be able to see that. The answers are in plain sight. Like, how can food give you energy if when you go back to eating, you need more sleep? How? It doesn't make any sense. It's because the body has to do so much more work digesting.
Yeah, the heavier you eat, or the more you eat, the more.
Yeah. I did 5 days last week and I broke it with a mango.
5 of MFS or dry?
2 days dry, 3 days wet.
Okay.
But immediately with the mango, you were talking about the mucus. I could feel the mucus immediately. I mean,
Yeah.
seconds, right in the throat.
Yep.
I'm glad you guys are starting to understand by experiencing it. I'm really glad to see this, and you guys are gaining that understanding, because most miss the boat, guys. They really do.
Yeah.
They really do. Just listen to the people's posts.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that, Steve, because I had issues with mangoes too. I should have stayed with the watermelon and the melons rather than the mango. I knew that even when I was eating it. And the other thing with the sleep, Gino, the sleep is different, okay? It's very, very different. You know when you're fasting, you know you go to that other place.
Oh, yeah.
But when you're eating, you miss it. You go, what happened?
I know without him telling me that he ate, I know he ate from his sleep.
Yeah, exactly. I can always tell when Gino's on his dries and not on his dries. I know exactly. I know you so well, Gino. Like when you did your 8-day dry, I knew the whole energy of you was just like, oh God, yes. And the whole family feels it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I was like, keep going with your dries, go for 30-day dry.
Yeah, actually, yeah, whatever. If it's meant to be.
Sorry.
But even when I'm eating, I never lose my enthusiasm and,
Yep.
and love for fasting. But
Yep.
we see that all the time with people. They condemn fasting when they go back to eating. Why? Because they don't have the understanding. They haven't done the cycles enough and listen to soul of what's going on. And the answers are there in plain sight. Like we've just been discussing on these few things. It's so clear food does not give you energy.
Yeah, but only experience will. So with experience, you will know more.
Yeah,
You
we
have
love
been fasting-
eating.
you have
We,
been
we love
fasting for a
eating,
long
but we
time,
love
so-
fasting more.
One thing I really love, Gino, is when our brother here, Oliver, a beautiful young person on this planet, and is because that he's our leader, like in ways of that generation to, keep this alive. So like it's just wonderful, Oliver, seeing your journey. Just like it's like your little your foster son going out there fasting sort of thing. And we're always, it's just beautiful. How you going, Oliver?
Hey. I just love listening to all this because it's like, yeah, that's exactly what's I've been, it's like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Eat and you feel the mucus and it starts to create. It's like, whoa, that's exactly what it's just.
Yeah. See that understanding of that mucus layer. People are saying, the food is doing it. No, the body has to make that mucus layer to protect it.
Right.
It's a whole different scenario. Arnold there, that was the one thing he was wrong. Mucusless diet. Mucusless diet is no diet. Right?
It's like physically, it's like the body creates that to protect itself, and then emotionally,
that's a whole other ballgame.
It's the awareness that you're subconsciously protecting yourself from through other people. It's like, wait a minute, no, that's it's okay. We're brothers and sisters here. Why is it? And then it's like, okay, let's get the Kalima board out. Let's start over.
Yeah. Oh, we're not starting over. We continue. We're continuing.
Continue. Yeah.
Get
back up.
All down. Continue. It's a lifestyle. So, when people say I'm back on, that mentality is meaning they were completely off. They went back to the old ways. That's how I read it.
No, like back on is okay because that's.
No, it's great.
But I'm starting again. I mean, it's a lifestyle. Just start anytime you want. Just
right.
So without stress, right?
Yeah. It's just the revelations. They come more and more and more the more you fast, and it's just a beautiful thing. Like Oliver, to see young people like you guys being enthusiasm of this is
heck yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
When did I started at 26 years old? Okay, so you're younger than that. You're a little younger than that, right?
Yeah, I'm going on 22 this month.
Yeah, awesome.
Good for you. Good for you.
Heck yeah, man. It's awesome.
So we're going.
Makes my heart, like I can imagine everyone here in MFS family, like our hearts just sing when we hear that. I just got goosebumps all over me. I know. It's just beautiful. God, imagine that, being 21 and fasting. Far out, man. How would you be today? It'd be like, oh my God, every, being in that spiritual realm like you are, it's just such a blessing to everybody.
Yeah, so we're going from like 20, 21, 22, all the way up to 80 something. Margaret,
Yeah.
108 days. It's amazing, beautiful.
Yeah, so it's
Everybody can do this. Everybody can do this.
is like we can look for all the excuses, or we can look for all the reasons to keep going and keep going and keep going. I have a million reasons why I should have quit. Many times, I have a million reasons, but being so stubborn,
Million
I said, no freaking way, man. I'm gonna keep going.
Million and one reasons to keep going.
So yeah, and that's you got to have that little bit of drive and that inkling to love that nectar of God flavor. Because the physical realm, the material things will never ever come close to it. Never. It's not going to happen. So what do? We find the balance in between the two worlds, if you want to call them. And as we keep expanding, as time goes through, the illusion of time, we will see that the food thing becomes more and more and more of an illusion. It becomes very clear, even though we love to eat. It's very clear you're not going to find resolution with food. It's very, very limited in the eating state. Very limited. Even if you're 100% fruitarian, which you'll see massive transformations on people going from whatever diet to fruitarian diet, but it's very limited. And then they start getting into challenges after several years, 5, 10 years. We see that
Or maybe
a lot.
not, but like
But
in terms
very,
of
I think I know one person who didn't fall into challenges with the fruitarian lifestyle, but she was regularly fasting 20 days a month on coconut water every month, and she would only eat one fruit every season.
Yeah.
She's in our group. I haven't seen her for a while. Susan, wow. She's been doing it since 16 years old. The Arnold Ehret.
So there's fasting involved.
And for 2 years she went transition diet, and then she went 100% fruitarian at 18. And she's in her 60s now. She had 5 children, all breastfed, no menstruation, and people still argue about this menstruation thing. Like there's an example that somebody living it and loving it. And then when I met her through the internet, through the group, I started talking to her about dry fasting. Guess what? She's dry fasting. And the last time I chatted with her, she was on her 10-day dry fast. She goes, "It's amazing. I don't have to do anything anymore." So, this is somebody who really was out there. These are the few of the few of the few. And to show us what's possible, right? So it's amazing. Like, this woman was one that I knew that it was possible the way she was living, because it's in Arnold Ehret's book about a woman didn't menstruate and had children, blah, blah, blah. And whenever I would discuss this over these last 3 decades with people, especially women, they would say I'm crazy and blah, 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 blah. And I just stopped talking about it. And then I go and meet Susan Hideta, who is living it. Was actually there. I knew it was possible, even though I knew nobody doing it, right? I knew it was possible, because when you read Arnold Ehret's book, it's a truth. It rings to your soul what he's talking about fasting. And that when he's speaking about his experiences, right? That's all I'm sharing is my experience. He's not talking about theories and this and that. It's all his experiences of himself, and then all the people he helped put through fasts. He's speaking about experiences. That's all he's doing. There's no theories. He's got some stuff in there, blah, 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 blah. It's all his experiences, and that's why I was so glued to that book when I picked it up the first time because it rang to my soul, and I understood it's a lifestyle. And I wish people can see that, but there's so much other influences that takes us away from that. And
So I have a question to everybody. Yeah. I have a question to everyone. What makes you go back to fasting? I can say mine first. So,
Well, I mean, that's easy for me. What
I'm
makes
more
me go back to fast?
yeah. So
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'll just go quickly.
No,
Yeah. So, okay.
because she's fasting now.
Okay. So, sorry. So I'll go quickly and then everybody can. So for me, it's very, very obvious. More energy, more clarity in the head, more productivity at work, more creativity at everything, more like just
Less sleep.
feeling lighter, feeling like more energy to work and work out and everything. Less sleep, yes, better sleep. So more time, of course. So like everything, really everything. It's fun.
Yeah, if you don't love life, all that extra time will be a nuisance.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
You love life. You know, we're looking for more time because we love life and we love doing things.
Yeah.
And you know, where are you going to get more time? Fast. You have much more time. It's so simple, right?
Okay, who's next? Who's next?
I think the simplicity.
Absolutely.
I was really drawn to the simplicity in this when I did the 62 days, and I missed it. I missed it tremendously.
Absolutely.
You know,
I like it.
and I just I feel better, and I feel more grounded, and definitely a deeper spirituality in the fast.
Yeah, spirituality.
When I begin eating again, I can feel it almost immediately. The spirituality starts dissipating out. See, I think it connects us to a higher power, but I also believe there's a lower power at work also,
Always.
always, and that's in the eating for me. That's where the lower power resides.
Yeah. The low, not, I don't like calling them frequencies, but the low fields, the low strengths. It feels like sometimes they have more drawing power than the higher strengths, but it's not true. But that's what it feels like because we're surrounded by the lower strengths, and that's the challenge, and that's why it feels like it's stronger pull, but it's not. When you go higher to above, you affect all those, and you're bringing them up. Even though there's challenges and stuff, you know, but you have to be able to stay in that state and pursue it and continue, and you will see that you'll be elevated more and more and more into the higher strengths. And that's what happens with fasting lifestyle when you continue over the years and keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And that's the wonderful thing. So yeah, there's so much more to do when you're fasting.
Rana, I break it down into 3 parts when I fast. So my 3 parts are obviously God, soul, presence, right, is one. Then you've got the emotional, and then you've got the physical. So in my fasted states, the one thing that just pulls and pulls is God. It's the creator, it's the source, it's being in nature, it's falling into those meditative states where you don't have to push yourself to do meditative states. It's seeing the miraculous in its action and knowing that that's just the way it's supposed to be. It's in that creative mode. It's the loving state. It's those high expansive feelings that you're in. So it's always being on goosebumps is what I feel. On the emotional level, it's a lot more calmer. It's much more peaceful. Nothing seems to be a challenge. If anything comes at you or any negative energy fields, the soul's already taught me how to transmute negative energy fields now. So if anything does come towards me, I have this guidance now within my soul that knows how to transmute that in a very fast form, and also to be detached from that. So things seem to flow a lot quicker when I'm in my fasted state compared to when I'm eating, even when I was eating, in my break. So it's a lot faster. You're much more highly sensitive. So you are very, very tuned in, and your intuition becomes much more magnetic. So you feel the fields. There's just no way of getting away from them, but you have to surrender to what you're feeling. So those emotion stuff is actually very beautiful because you're in a different way. You're not numbed out. On a physical level, it's I don't really get too much in the physical, but we are in this human form, and it's nice to feel and sense things differently, like touching your skin, feeling the dirt, putting your feet, on sand, and like you actually sometimes feel like you just want to be naked in nature, sort of thing, but you can't walk around naked. But you feel that, like not brushing your teeth. Yeah, I know this sounds crazy, but as simple as not brushing your teeth, especially on your dry days, is just, your mouth feels incredible. It feels incredible. Not going to the toilet as much, not going to and buying food. Just those mundane, boring things that you do when you're eating, it consumes so much more time for no reason. And I'm like you, Gina, like and Ran, and most people here, I love my extra time. I love the fact that I only maybe sleep 4 hours a night, or 5 hours maybe, and then on dry states, sometimes you don't even sleep. Like you just fall in and out of these meditative states. So there's things that happen that in the physical that are really good. Like you can go to a social event and you can choose not to eat. Like I went to a social occasion the other night, and with my husband, and it was just in a fasted state. Like you're in a different communication. It's a different. It's not about you. It's about other people. It's much more of a higher state, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So when you go back to food, and when you break and you had that experience, then you go back to, and it happens really quickly, and the other experience, you just go, well, there's only really one experience to have in a human form. And I know fasting does that for me. Hope that answers or helps to other people.
Yeah, beautiful. And I say also less hunger, which is amazing. Less
hunger,
more satisfaction. Like it's just much more stable. So you can go
Yeah,
out, enjoy food, and not be hungry. I mean, so
yeah.
you can go out and socialize and not be hungry. Whereas before, like I would be hungry when I socialize. I didn't like.
Oh.
There's satisfaction before you go to someone's place.
And the other thing I really love on the physical level is dumping all the science information. Like I don't have to be. I'm such a big researcher. I was probably done PhD in everything that I am passionate about. Right, so dumping all that for me was the one on the physical level was such a big freedom, which gave me more time to focus on what I'm supposed to, be here for, which is being. So yeah, dumping all that information, research, science, I never have to ever think about that again, because it traps me. It always used to trap me. Or even now, like someone said something to me and my mind went in there, and then I thought, I don't have to know that anymore, because the old me would go in, research it to death, and I would be feeding them back, what's the right information on that, because, ego, right? I think sometimes, intellect.
Ego.
Gino.
The nectar of God. Your senses are heightened on all forms. Your smell, sight, your gut feelings, everything, all through. That was actually a challenge for me when I started going to a gym. When was that? After many years, it was in early 2000, I think it was. Yeah, I started going to public gyms again, right? These private gyms, and the odors were so intense and overwhelming. I'm going, I don't know if I can stay. So I had to actually learn to turn off some senses. I had to do that because it was so overpowering. And I was able to do it because otherwise I wasn't able to stay in these places. It was just, everybody reeked to me. It was
Yeah, especially when you drive fast.
oh yeah, everything gets heightened, 100-fold.
Exercise is easier.
Yeah, your body wants to move.
Mm-hmm.
It wants to move because there's no obstructions and aches and pains. And if you guys are doing any kind of movement with fast enough, you know the difference. Your body's so much freer. When you do full MFS, most people, when they hit into around 60 to 90 days, most part, are completely free of any joint pains and cracking or anything. It's all gone. If any of you have experienced that, and if you haven't, you just got to go longer.
From day
Because
one.
it will come, and it comes, and no cracks happen, nothing. Then you start putting. I remember one guy made a comment. He drank some water, his bones started cracking again. I was laughing my head off. Just with water, just to show you the answers are in plain sight. If you understand that, how powerful not putting anything in the body is. But we understand what water is, and we love water. But the simplicity, as Steve was mentioning, or the connection, the excitement and enthusiasm of looking yourself in the mirror when you start, and a few days later, a week later, my goodness gracious, there's rejuvenation happening that you can see, right? And you can see others. Look at the picture, the differences. Some, very few will actually look rougher. They just need to fast more because there's still a lot of work happening that the body can't complete in the time they've done it. So they just need to fast more, but it does come to everyone. There's just so much. The whole thing is when you're in these states, sometimes there's your enthusiasm to wanting to share more, right? That drive to spread that feeling, you gotta try this. Like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
What are you doing eating? You should start fasting. It's that, there's so much. There's
How about breathing?
Breathing, you hardly breathe when you're fasting.
Yeah.
You're breathing less too, right?
Yeah.
We're
100%.
advocating, learn the Buteyko type of breathing methodologies. You're breathing much less, nasal breathing only.
The heavier the food, the heavier the breathing, right?
Yeah. Heart rate goes up when I'm eating into the mid 60 to mid 60s usually. Fasting state, it's from 40 to mid 50s, depending on how long my fast. Big difference for me. As soon as I put food, my heart rate goes up.
And are you able to do more work when you're fasting?
Oh yeah. You have much more clear focus work. The yoga happens much more freely. It just goes on and on and on and on. It's all positive.
Nothing negative.
Yeah, you get your few days of healing reactions. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. You get to come out stronger. Always come out stronger. I haven't seen anybody not come out stronger when they break a fast, unless they do some stupid things over and over and kill themselves.
Does it take really a few days? I mean, sometimes you don't, maybe they take maybe half an hour, or I don't know, maybe sometimes you just feel sharp pain for a few seconds and it goes away.
Yeah, it can happen. Pain can last minutes, hours, days, weeks, months.
Yeah.
But it's going to go away. It's going to go away. And then fast months, then you have real severe imbalance challenges that you've got to work out, and you just got to keep going. If you're having pain lasting for weeks or months, man, there's a lot of work to do. Just keep going. Just keep going. Because pain is actually the gateway to the healing when you're in a fasting state. You're going to feel pain. And
a little bit.
It's short-lived, most of it.
Yeah, like kidney pain or something.
Yeah, like for Steve, you experienced a lot of kidney pain at the end, and it was
that was terrible.
Yeah, So you're gonna see, your next fast, you might still have some, and there'll be less. It could even be more. We don't know. But when you start getting into that, couple of years, 3 years, and you start getting into longer dry fasts, you're gonna start to see that once you get into that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days of dry, eventually that challenge will completely vanish unless you go back to eating heavy foods.
Yeah.
And then you'll feel it. But the body will work itself out, and it will fix whatever it has to, because it knows exactly what to do. There's no doubt at all. The only doubt is that monkey mind that keeps playing. It never stops, really. It never stops, but we can tame it. We can tame it. We don't have to put on a leash. Animal abuse. There's so much. Freedom is this biggest thing. You feel much freer, right? In that fasting state. That's where you feel true freedom. Food, to me, feels like an entrapment that, you have to eat. You have to,
Addiction.
And once you let that go, when you're going for that 5, 6, 7 days of nothing, you're going, my goodness gracious, this is true freedom. This is true freedom. Just think about it. If you got into that state where you never ate again and you never drank again, just try and picture yourself in that state, and you can do it, and you'll feel that freedom. You'll feel it because it's there. It's truly there.
It's hard to even imagine if you haven't practiced. Somebody who's never done it.
When you experience it, you'll know. But people are doing 2-3 day dry fast. You're getting a taste of it. You're getting the taste of that feeling. You don't have to hardly go to the washroom. You don't have to worry about drinking nothing. You just keep busy. You're gonna have your days you're less energetic and so on and so forth. But they pass. They pass. So fasting is freedom. True freedom for me.
Yeah. Anyone else likes to share?
I will share. Well, just an update and also answer the question. But so this is my 8 days full master fast. Very exciting. And today's dry. I've been going through some things.
You're laughing.
Like you said, I am, because it's still all good. Either way it goes, it's this is the most loving thing I can ever do for myself, honestly. And I feel emotional, sorry.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I really feel like, why do anything else? Why do anything else? My body is completely loving it. And like you said about the extra energy, like I'm trying to go to bed, like at the same time I normally go to bed, and I'm like tossing, turning, can't sleep. And I'm like, forget it, just get up. Like you don't need to sleep. It's like a program. I have to reprogram myself that I don't need to sleep as long as I was sleeping before. I mean, it's just, I can't actually. There's just no way I even can,
Sometimes people go through challenges. It's a little bit nervous energy that they can't get into that sleep state. So you know what I mean? There's comes and goes, and then when you do sleep, you go into these deep, beautiful sleeps, but it's not long because your body doesn't need it.
Yeah. I wake up before the alarm, like ready to go. And that's definitely not. And I was raw vegan before this, okay, and on juices for 2.5 months and stuff like that. And I did experience more energy, but nothing like this at all. Also, all the releasing that's been happening,
you posted.
Oh my God. I think I need a porta potty like in my office at work. Yeah, like it's just, but it's just amazing. It's amazing how much I have in me to release and how much it is releasing. You know, I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can
it's
see already
amazing.
your face is glowing. It's got a much nicer glow. If you look at the past videos and stuff, yeah, you'll see.
Yeah. I saw my mom today. I saw her about 2 weeks ago. So today she was like, oh my God, you're losing too much weight. What's going on here? Oh my, you're about the size of your daughter now, who's a natural size 0. That's just how she is. Yeah. You're the size of your daughter now. Like, I can't, you need to eat. You need to put meat on your bones, you know? And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm not, but okay, you know. But yeah, that's just, you know, a reaction of other people. That's just how it's going to be because they don't understand what's happening here. And this is something profound. This is something miraculous. Like, I just really want to scream it out, but like people don't understand, you know, so I can't. But I mean, she knows I'm fasting. But yeah, she just kind of just shakes her head and, you know, says her comments. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's move on. Next topic, you know. So, and I find that I'm actually finding joy in watching other people eat. Like, I don't want to eat. Like the when I think about eating, it's like it makes me feel nauseous. Like, my body does not want it whatsoever. And I'm hardly ever hungry. Maybe like twice in the 8 days, I felt a tinge of hunger. Like, I don't even feel hungry. And I'm drinking about 2 liters a day. One day I drank 3 liters, but mostly just 2 liters. And I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. It's just like, this is so, it's weird, but it's great, you know, because I've been so addicted to food. And like, to finally just be healing of that addiction it's a miracle. It's really a miracle. And it's funny because one day at work this week, maybe like day 4 or 5, there was this little voice in my head, and it didn't feel like me. It felt like a separate entity telling me, oh, go ahead and go get those Lay's potato chips. You know, what's one bag of chips gonna hurt you? You know, it's right up the street. It's real easy. You don't have to be honest about everything on that website. You know, you don't have to tell everyone you did it. Like, just like trying to convince me to put poison in my body. I'm just like, who is this? And I'm like, who are you? You know, I don't want you here. You know, I'm not going to eat. I've made a promise to my body and to myself, and this is what I'm going to do. But this little voice was like a nag, you know what I mean? Like, just trying to tell me to eat things I haven't eaten in years anyway, you know, like, so why would I eat it, you know? But yeah, so I thought that was really, really interesting, you know, this little separate entity inside of me.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, eventually you'll be gone too. You know, you'll be gone too.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like I've had waves of different emotions, mostly happy and good, but every so often, like, this bout of sadness will hit me, you know, for a time being, like, no reason whatsoever. But I just know it's like, it's coming up to be detoxed out of me, you know?
Yeah.
And I dealt with depression and anxiety for years. So the fact that this is coming up doesn't surprise me, even though I've done a lot of inner work on it anyway, but this is at a deeper level. So yeah, I'm like, okay, I feel that. I feel more like an observer now. Like, I'm observing, like, oh, there's pain in my stomach. Okay. You know, oh, I'm feeling a little bit of depression. Oh, okay. And then it just passes, you know, it's so, but that too is a miracle, that I don't have to follow it. I don't have to be like strapped to those feelings, or strapped to whatever physical is happening, or strapped to whatever events going on in my life. You know, I'm just like watching it and like, yeah, okay. And that'll pass too, you know?
Amazing.
It just really, truly is amazing. It really, really is amazing. It really is.
Yeah. You mentioned you did like 2.5 months on juices before. What kind
I
of
did.
juices?
Fruit and veggie, mostly fruit juices, but also sometimes veggie juices mixed in there as well.
Fresh squeezed?
Fresh squeeze, yep. Cold pressed juices. And a lot happened then too, in those 2.5 months that I did that. And when I went back to eating salads, I got totally sick. Like, I couldn't. I went back to juices again after that. Even in Peru, when I tried to eat, you know, I had to do juices there as well. Like, so my body's already kind of saying, no more solids. I don't want that. And if you give it to me, this is how I'm going to act, you know, because it's poisonous to me.
Did you,
Go ahead.
you broke it with the vegetables? You didn't eat fruits?
When I was doing the juice, I broke it with fruits. Yeah.
And even that was too much?
The fruit was okay, but it was like I ate half an apple and I was completely full. I couldn't eat anymore. You know, it was more like that. Like, The fruit was okay, but it was too heavy. It was still like kind of too heavy for me. And the salads came because of the food addiction. I just, you know, it's like that want to eat, even though I'm not hungry, even though I don't need to. I know I don't need it. I've survived without it, but still wanting to go back. And that's, you know, that's the piece that I know the Master Fast, it's helping me with that, you know, with that, just that desire to eat for no reason. It's emotional eating. You know, feeling stressed at work, I want Lay's potato chips for some reason, you know, these things come up. But it feels great to be able to not give in, you know, to not just say, forget it and go there, you know, to be able to hold strong and no, just stick with love. Just stick with love, you know? And I know this is the most loving thing I can possibly do for myself.
I just got a vision. Remember Fred Flintstones on the one with, he was addicted to bats? Bat. I was thinking, chips.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I'm going to have nightmares of these like large Lay's potato chips trying to take over me or something, like, you know, life-size potato chips with like teeth, like these sharp teeth, like trying to come get me or something. I'm like, oh my God.
It's truly amazing of what comes up when you're fasting. Like, whoa, where did this come from?
Yeah. Yeah, and then the releasing, it's like I actually feel good on the dry right now because I'm not going to the bathroom. I've been going so much that I'm like sore and everything else, you know. So yeah, that feels awesome.
I look back at the water days, meaning drinking a lot of water, 3-4 liters a day, and all the times I have to go to the washroom. I go, why did I torture myself for all that time?
Especially when you don't really need it. That's the thing. Like you think you do, but you really don't. Yeah. You know, so just to be, I feel like you said, freer. I feel free of food, you know? Other people can eat around me and they could be gorging and I'm just like, okay, they're eating. I don't want to do that. And it feels great to not have to feel like I have to eat too because they're eating, you know? Yeah.
So what's your plan for this one and after? Or what's your plan?
My plan is to keep going, you know? I just want to I don't see why I would do anything else. That's the thing. Like the only reason why I want to eat is because of addiction, if it comes up. And I don't want to be addicted to anything, nothing. I've had a lot of addictions in my life, and meditation and yoga and juices and healthy living has helped heal me of that. And I feel that food is the last one to go, and it's got to go. It's got to go with all the rest. It no longer serves me, you know? So yeah, my plan is just to keep going. 108 further. I don't know. Just keep on going.
One day at a time. Today I'm food free.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because when you start putting out there, I'm never going to eat it again. It's very.
I mean, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
Because most people are not going to say that.
No, but when you start, I have that in my mind, but it's something that puts the ego, subconscious, whatever, monkey mind into kind of
survival mode. Like, oh no, you want to get rid of me forever?
But when you're eating, it's very scary to say I'll never eat again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Fasting, like
when you're fasting, you love it because you feel great.
Day 2, and you say it, you're strong. Like if you're fasting and you say I'll never eat again, you're strong, because it's not like that's serious. Because when you're eating, you're just addicted. You cannot stop eating. You know, it's very scary to stop.
Yeah, eating. Exactly.
But yeah.
Even if it's raw food, it doesn't matter. It's just food in general. Yep.
Yeah, that's very powerful. I mean, Marine has done it. I tried to do it last year, was it? I think last year, yes. I did 116 days. One thing is that, you know, like just be prepared for probably weight loss. You know?
Yeah.
That's one thing. We might criticize ourselves, and more than that, people criticize us, which can be a little bit stressful. But so you want to in that way, and you know, don't push the dries. Minimal dry as much as you can. Like keep to the protocol, but minimal. Don't push
24.
Lose much faster if you do longer. And
A part of me feels like I feel like I don't know how much more weight I can lose, because just doing the 2.5 months of juices, you know, mostly fruit juices, but a variety, I lost so much already. So, you know, I feel like at some point it's got to plateau. You know what I mean?
It will.
Yeah.
But there's few people that will actually go to skin and bones, and that's scary for people to be in that state. They feel great, but they're skin and bones, and then the comments from everybody around them. That's the challenge, and that's what affects us. You know,
Yeah.
we can be okay with it if we understand and we decide and we know how we feel, but it gets challenging with people around us. So whatever happens, we embrace it. If you get to the point where you're losing way too much, take a break. Okay, go back to food for a
like
bit.
1 day a week, 2 days, like whatever. Yeah, like minimum.
Yeah.
Once in a while.
I feel like I have to get to a point where I can eat 1 day a week and then not eat anymore. Like, I don't know if I'm at that stage. You know what I mean? Like, because food was such an addiction.
Yeah.
And that's what got me on juices in the first place. Because I'm like, this has to stop. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's just, you eat a little and then you just keep going and going and going. Like you're looking, I don't know, if I was looking for something that of course is never going to be satisfied with food.
Impossibility.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what it is, but
You know,
yeah, I don't feel like.
my
Yeah.
advice is I did 1 day a week and I ate 2 to 3 meals of fruits and vegetables. But there was some, like the next morning, I would be really tired and like I feel the heaviness and kind of addiction. So maybe it's not like what I would adjust in that is 1 meal a week, maybe once in a while. 1 meal once in a while, whenever you want. If you want to be consistent, 1 meal a week, maybe every Sunday. But I wouldn't do more than 1 meal because then you will start. I mean, maybe a small fruit meal and then a vegetable meal or whatever, but maybe mainly fruits, savory fruits, like first sweet fruits and savory fruits. I don't know, but like don't eat the whole time. Maybe within 2 hours. Keep dry, like always keep the dry. And when you eat, longer. You don't want to be eating all day. Longer dry.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have liquids if you want, like hybrid kind of. But yeah, you don't want to be eating all day. When you eat, because it's very, the addictions can come back even. You feel torture. You feel like you tortured your body.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I don't want that feeling. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like I'm just going to keep going for as long as it takes. I mean, I don't even know. I don't have a date. You know what I mean? I'm just going to just keep going and see what happens.
They're very focused. Marin, he went to almost skin and bones, friend. He was there for a while and he was complaining to me, you know, I feel great, but I'm very, and it took him, I think it was around the 2-year mark where he actually started putting on weight and muscle. On MassiFast, right? I'm full MFS. He was only adding the green juice, which is liquid hybrid, but he's on liquids, right? And he's still going.
Yeah, and he also.
He's about 2.5 years now, or maybe more.
3. No, 3. Yeah.
2.5 years for sure.
Because April, I think. So. Yeah. Yeah. So Marine was also one who decided like from the beginning that I don't want to go back to food. So he knew it. He did not want to go back to food. He was very determined.
I mean, before this, I was looking into the breatharian initiation with Raymond Mayor, you know? So, I mean, I've already kind of knew I'm on this path, you know? I don't know how long it's going to take or whatever, but this is kind of the path I'm on. So just going to go with it. You know, it's what my body wants. I feel like when I'm fasting, me and my body are more in sync. You know what I mean? You know, I understand it better and it speaks to me. You know, and it wants a certain thing and it knows that it's the healthiest thing for us, you know? So, yeah.
Do you grow food in the summer?
Do I grow food? No.
Okay. Yeah.
I would like to have some fruit trees though. That would be nice.
Yeah. So I was thinking maybe you have fruit trees and once in a while eat fruits from your trees, not from outside.
Yeah.
And that would be your diet, you know, like.
Once a year.
Yeah.
Harvest.
Yeah.
Cool. Anybody else sharing and also plans?
Oliver, I know you want to talk.
One day at a time, I suppose. I actually today I was gardening and getting it. It was just nice because being at your garden and seeing, I was
Okay.
like, oh, that's awesome. Let me do some of that too. And I remember you told me, you're like, I was out here making wraps in the summer, Oliver. Making wraps. So I know, however, it's it's going to be a temporary thing, and it's just a little fun to have. Because the other night when I was eating that carrot and it was alive and all that, I'm like, when I'm messing around with other forms and like, it's like the collective emotion of humanity. Everyone eats that, like a carrot. Everyone eats that. It's a carrot. You eat it. It's most people you ask. It's you eat that thing. It's not recognized as this other being that's experiencing and breathing and all that. So it's like when I'm gardening with the tomatoes and this and that, I'm like, most people see this as, I'm like, whoa, this is like, is it me, or is it's like this dark and light of this experience of creation. I'm like, whoa, dude, what? This is cool though. It's cool. It's like meditation. You keep busy, and it's nice to get your hands in the dirt, and and when people visit, I could feed them that, and show them the, that stuff.
Love it. We want to garden maybe tomorrow. We'll plant some seeds. Love gardening. I mean, I haven't done it.
Yeah.
I just love thinking about it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like a Zen garden, It's like
Beautiful.
just something to connect, man.
Wouldn't it be nice to have all your food right next to you if you want to eat it?
Yeah, and like having that instead of going to the store and doing that whole, that whole program, you're creating a new program that you're taking responsibility for it. If you do want to eat, you can have that for your own, you know what I'm saying? Instead of like feeding the emotion of the people, like we have to go and give these people, illusion dollars to take that, food or whatever that is that they're putting there, like, kind of stuff. But
It's unripe, it's sprayed,
yeah, it's all
I mean, if you don't want to
set
eat
up.
you can gift it to somebody, you can gift your food to somebody else if you don't want to eat.
Yeah, big time.
There's always something beautiful about it. I mean, just to see it grow, to watch it, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, see all the stages and it's awesome. Like these fig trees, I initially thought like food, but now it's like it's a flower, it's a tree, it's going through these cycles, and it's so cool to see that.
Yeah. Amazing. How so when did you start this one?
I think it was Monday. Yeah.
I started
the latest one. But yeah, time and this and that like totally melts out, and even thoughts just start melting out. It's like anything I write, it's like those etch a sketch. It just keeps disappearing. Anything I do or say is like it's starting to melt more. And yeah, it's like, whoa, there's so many choices of things to experience, and whoa, it's infinite. Yeah, as we know.
So you have no plans, too many things to experience?
Some things come and go, like just and like the past couple months were just endless. Like the amount of lives I could live is just like, whoa. It's like, and which one's the right one? There is no right one or wrong one. All rivers lead to the ocean. So here we are, and here I am. And I mean, I suppose lately I've been just creating at the wood shop. That's awesome, man. There's all this scrap wood. He's like, yeah, use the scrap wood. I'm like, awesome. I used to always throw boomerangs, and I always lost them and broke them and stuff. But now there's infinite scrap wood, so I no longer have that feeling of, oh no, what if I lose it? So it's just like, yeah, let's throw it. I can make another one. Big deal, And it's awesome. Yeah, it's to keep busy, because when you're bored and you don't like life, it's like, okay. And then you get sucked into that emotion of what do you do? What's everyone else doing? Eat! Maybe not. Maybe there's something else to do. Let's go look around.
Yeah.
So,
beautiful.
yeah.
Amazing.
So
yeah.
what else that keeps you going in fasting state?
Mostly the curiosity. You always talk about the nectar of the gods, and I know that's You know, I'm like way on the outside, and I just need to, or not need to, but when time comes, I'll spiral inward towards that. And it's just so cool to hear about it and feel your energy when you experience. Like, wow, that's something, huh? That's something interesting to go check out. It's like, yeah.
You start getting into the longer ones, you'll see. You'll know what I'm talking about. You'll experience it.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Truly.
Wow.
It's beyond addictive.
Oh boy, yeah. Wow, dude. Whoa.
Anything else you want to share?
Yeah, I did.
Margaret?
Yeah, I always feel lighter when I'm not eating. And when I'm eating, I'm hungry all the time and I want to eat everything and 3 times a day. And you just feel so bloated up. And when you're fasting, I think you have more time to reflect on yourself. And your mind is giving you information that you don't get when you're eating. It's more enlightening for people, I think. And I think the care of self is more. I don't know if you have more time, but because you're doing enemas and brushing and doing all kinds of things, the tools and stuff, but you don't have to go to the grocery store as much. You know, you go for juice and the equipment you need for the fast, but you don't have to worry about cooking food, just cooking juices, and it saves you time in the kitchen. I don't know what else, but you pay attention to things that you didn't have time to do before, like how your body's feeling, if the kidneys are working or your liver's working, and how your fingernails are, and all of these things that when you're eating, you're busy, you're just cooking and eating and just going out, and so it just saves time and energy. I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Awesome. Are you eating right now? You're still eating?
I am going back to fasting. Yeah, I'm partially eating.
Okay, awesome.
But I just went to a wedding this last Saturday. It was with 2 kids that I call them the chemo kids because they met in the hospital like 20 years ago and they got married on Saturday. They both were diagnosed with cancer at 2 years and 4 years. So they've gone through life together. With the cancer hasn't been remission, and they were married on Saturday. It was a great wedding for both of them.
They were in remission or were not?
Pardon?
They were in remission?
Yes, they're in remission now. Yeah, and they have been for quite a few years, but they went through quite a lot of therapies for at least 12 years. And they were friends all that time.
Unreal. There's so many misdiagnoses out there. And it's just, who knows? Stay away. Awesome, Margaret. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. The MFS family here. Anyone else want to share?
quiet.
I mean, I can talk, but you know, I don't, you know, I can echo a few things here, like what Oliver was saying about the carrots and the gardening and that. It's really funny when you do these longer fasts, you know, all forms are the same. You know, like a stone is the same to me as a piece of fruit and a vegetable, but they all have their own unique energy that they nourish you with by just looking at them, feeling them, imagining them. It's just such a different world. It really is a different world. And yeah, I was just sort of remembering some of the stuff that Latrice was saying, you know, the beginning of her fast. It's just so nice when people share. You're right, Gino, when people start doing MFS and they're sharing their journey, it reminds you back to where you kind of started. And, you know, it's just nice to remember all those things and watch the journey. And I can just see Latrice going to have such a beautiful journey because his attitude is so good. You know what I mean? The attitude is so positive and it's excited, and she can see the door opening on what's actually in that door. You know, when you open it up, you can see it. Like, it's just, you know, I can see you living this lifestyle, you know, and many people here who are still living the lifestyle. And just listening to Margaret, and isn't it wonderful that you can, you know, for a lady, it doesn't matter what age you are, age is irrelevant, you know, and to go to a wedding and, you know, and she's doing MFS, you know, so she's master fasting and going to social events and, you know, and living it. It's all to do with, you know, your attitude sometimes, Gino, I think, you know, and, you know, what those programs are, like bring it back to the beginning, you know, the subconscious, and bringing back to those paradigms. And I think mindset work and doing inner work, because I get messages sometimes, do you know, like, you know, how come you know, I'm in day 70 something, I don't know, might be mid 70s and second round. And I actually haven't lost a lot of weight, by the way. I have to take some photos of myself because all I do is walk, and I might do some push-ups and a little bit of weights, not much. And I do stretching. I don't do too much, but I've got muscles on me. And my stomach is very hollow and it's flat, but, you know, there's muscles forming on my back and on my legs. And this is where it comes to trusting in the soul. So I'm not a person that's gone to skin and bone. And I think it's different for everyone. And I feel if you trust yourself in the soul, if it takes you to skin and bone, it's all okay, because that's where you got to go for it to rebuild on really good substance and get rid of all those emotions that are locked into your body and become free, like you said before, Gino. It's the journey is so unique for everybody, but it's one of the best journeys you could ever go on if you really put your 100% focus on it and be willing to face the challenges through the journey. Because it doesn't matter what you do in life, like if you're an athlete or if you want to do something that's so important to you, you're going to have to go through the boundaries. You're going to have to go to God, because that's the place, that's the resting place to get above the worldly things. And you have to go bypass the mind, and you go into these realms where you see things differently. You know, you see a carrot differently, you see energy differently. Everything is just energy fields. You know, I just see it as clear as day. It's just all energy fields, and you can choose and whatever you want, what lifestyle or how you want to live, however you want to do that. It's not right or wrong. It is what it is. I love fasting, Gino. I really love it. Thank you so much, with all my heart. Finding a roadmap to drive, and the dry fasting is a lot easier because you know your GI tract is clean. Like, I don't know how people dry fast. If they dry fast for 3 days and they go back eating fats and protein and then they dry fast, I mean, you're defeating the purpose. I really do. You're actually making it, I feel, I couldn't do it.
It's
That
very
would be
hard.
very.
Very hard.
Why fats and proteins are so challenging? You know, like, I know lots of people like, I mean, I've done raw foods and stuff before, and yeah, sure, when you go on these journeys of all these different lifestyles to live with food, um, you do get cleaned out for a period of time, right? It does give you something because you're changing the environment of your gut. I don't understand it fully, but then you're right. At some point, it doesn't last. It has its lifetime, and it doesn't continue on, and I think fats, going back to fats and proteins, would be just so be
It's a
detrimental.
shock.
Mm.
Yeah, but you hit the bingo, on the nail on the head with, the biggest thing that we could try and convey is trust in your soul. If you're going to skin and bones, okay, trust. And if you need a little break, it's okay, but trust. And the biggest challenge is out there. If you're out and about and meeting a lot of people, that's going to be a big challenge with the skin and bone things. But you still, with that trust, back off, do it later. There's a few examples of people who, on their first MFS, they were very skinny, some of them skin and bones. Then they did their second and they didn't go to skin and bones. And you're another one, right? That's on the second. So, one shoe doesn't fit all. Creation is one, and there is no shoes in the limitless realms. So you don't have to worry about fitting into anything. You just tap into soul. and it's there. It's what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Where are you focusing? Understand the journey has many, many, many different facets of it. And there's some pain, and there's some this, and there's some that, and whatever, and you feel like you're going to die. If you trust, you're going to come out stronger. Guaranteed. Pretty much guaranteed. Unless it's your time is up in this realm and you need to jump the fence. But I haven't seen anybody jumping the fence in a fasting state. I've seen only when they broke their fast. Which is what you see out there. How do people die? They're not dying fasting, they're dying eating. Take these drugs. What are they doing? They're eating. They die through eating, right? Through the act of eating, whatever it is, whether it's fake or not or synthetic, it's still an act of eating. As doctors used to say a lot, and they still do to some degree, diet has nothing to do with anything. But here's these drugs. Eat these. They're going to fix you. But you just said eating has nothing to do, but you want to give me something to eat. That doesn't make sense. But people don't see it that way. So, trust. You got to trust. We don't have to, but it's a much better place to be when you trust. Oliver, you have anything else to say?
I mean, anything, man.
Life is beautiful.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like your whole life. It's like everyone's saying it's bad, and you finally, start programming in that. It's like, wait a minute, I got my power. I know what I want to experience in this life, and I'm gonna do that. And fine. Like, it doesn't matter to me if someone's, if you're illegal or not allowed to do this or that. It's like, says who? This is my experience, not yours. It's just fugazi. It's not real what these illusory chains and binds that people are saying that you can't do this. It's like, no, watch me, I'll do it. Yeah, it's beautiful though when you start opening up and start affecting the people around you that you love deep down, and you chose to experience this with them, and it starts to come together, and they start to feel, and then you're just smiling at them, and they it's like you pull their child out because you pulled your child out, and here we go, and let's play, because this is Earth, baby. It's supposed to be play around a bit here before we go. So yeah, and I call everyone back home, across in New Jersey, because I'm in Oregon now, just by myself, letting my soul grow as much as it damn pleases. And I call my family and friends back home. They're like, "What are you doing?" Like, everyone wants to come and see me. I'm like, guys, life is beautiful. It's beautiful. Just any subconscious judgments I was holding against anyone at any level, thick or light, is just completely obliterated. I'm like, hey, remember when we're kids and we're doing this together?
Right.
So it's just, it's such a nice release. It's like you're holding your breath. Like when you're on the Kalima or colonic table, just let that release. Unplug the GI tract. That's it.
Exactly. Things flowing and moving.
Oh yeah.
Every time we hold on to things physically, emotionally, we run into challenges.
Yeah. It's like anything in space and time's temporary. So it's like you might as well just hold it like this. Don't hold it like this. Hold it like this. Because everything here is, coming and going, and that's okay.
You have challenges to release things verbally. So go out in nature and the forest and let it out on the tree.
Yeah. I notice when I'm in the wilderness, like random emotions come out, I let them out. I'm like, all right, let me just sit down and feel this thing.
Yes.
Whatever that is.
The plants will all help you.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I'm so grateful to see this. There's plants everywhere.
Being in his greenhouse, it's the connection there with the plants.
Yeah.
Awesome. You're digging in the dirt, you're touching the dirt, and it's just.
Oh yeah.
How you going there, Inga? What are you colouring in?
I'm great. Absolutely great. I'm putting puzzle. As I just was talking to Oliver, otherwise I fall asleep. I won't fall asleep because I'm sitting actually in the kitchen. But yeah, no, I'm great. Is there more unfoldings happen and realizations and just more we let go, anything we hold on to, it just comes to you. If you guys want to listen, I would like to share. It's deep. But as we part of beauty and ugly, I think it's gonna help a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
When we do fast, actually, a couple years ago, probably about 5 years ago, there was an elderly man came from Latvia, and he done a workshop, and I attended. And there was a message which came through me now, why that message was. He says to, like also we say, don't live in the past. And he says, if your life not being affected, don't go there. Let them go. And what we do with Master Fast, as we know, it's a very, very, very strong and powerful tool. We shred all that off, and not necessarily we need to go there. As you can see, when we fast, we feel so amazing, and then when we eat, and we can not control, because we have taken way more layers off than we already achieve them. Then we already digest. And it's also completely pure through my experience, what I have experienced over this year and a half. And that's how these all unfoldings happening. And what happened, as I just said, that's where is argument, because as I say, there's nothing wrong when you eat, and there's nothing wrong when you fast. It's beautiful combination in life, what you need to master. And if you need to eat something you like have a net for a month, and you really want to prepare, be ready, and you can do, because truly with our thoughts, with our mind, we put in ourselves, that is bad. You can eat, even if you haven't eaten for, say, for a month, and you experience, and with that pureness, completely eat that meal with an enjoyment, and you feel in bliss. You know, and that is really, really big one, because as I say, you are, Gino, you are the king of the master fast.
No king here.
You know, but what happens, because we are so unique, also now I understand what truly uniqueness mean. Uniqueness mean where we are completely everyone unique, and we come here for such a different purposes. And when we teach everyone exactly same, it's not necessarily. That's why you see the stronger ones are staying, the weaker ones are going. But if we allow them be themselves, the group will blossom. It's gonna be just, you know, there is a flower starts and then just opens and opens and opens and opens. You know, because in our thoughts, like you keep saying, I have 30 years experience of fasting, and I was 30 years stuck in my childhood abuse until I was ready to fully accept. I chose my parents, and when I came to them in my little physical form, I loved them unconditionally. They were beating me up, they were raping me. I loved them. Anytime was ambulance called, I would never say my mom done. And it's not, I understand now, it's not as much as it's fear as that unconditional love you have to your parent when you chose them. And it's very same what I experience, like pretty much now on every day. Unconditional gratitude I have to each and every soul has helped me to open to my own power. That and let everything go. We are human beings where we attach to things. Anything that is also fasting. No, it's beautiful. Like we chose to be wherever we are, and we can master that peace with beautiful, ugly, black, light, recreating in our minds all these labels. When we let them go, it comes just freedom.
It's awesome. You know, all the states are beautiful when you have that understanding. The pain, misery, and suffering that a lot of people go through, it's beautiful when you let that go.
Yeah.
And you look back. My goodness, what an amazing experience. Right? So that's what happened to me, you know, being 2 years bedridden. I look back, my God, thank you. I had that experience because it needed to be there to teach me. So it's all perspective of how we look at things. And we all choose all the different things. Nobody ever said eating is, you know, all this, whatever. It's we love to eat. You know, when I eat, I'm enjoying the flavors. I enjoy it. I love it.
I mean, Gino, you know what I meant by eating. I know you always say love. No, but see, the master fast is you fast and then you eat fruits and vegetables. But we are unique, and we chose whatever we are, eat like to be in life with other people and enjoy fully. And if you want to eat that meal, that's absolutely fine. You know, we are so unique, and now I understand why.
Of course, there's no two people alike. We're all unique. There's no two stars alike in all the universes. Every creation never creates two things alike, right? There's a uniqueness to everything. Individual fingerprints, right? There's no two fingerprints alike. No two grains of sand alike. And that's the beauty of creation.
Claim your power back.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
I love fasting. And that connect us, you know, the true self. No one can give you.
Yeah, the more you go into these fasting states, the more revelations come to you.
Yeah, powerful.
The eating states, you know, everybody's going to choose their different paths of eating, whatever. But I only share what I experienced, and the revelations come through the fasting state, not the eating state for me. And many have shared the same thing that have gone through MFS. It's in that fasting state where the answers show up in plain sight, and we get a sense of feeling more and more into that balanced state where everything starts working beautifully. So that's what why we all love the fasting state. It's that connection to the spirit, because fasting first and foremost is a spiritual journey. It's nothing to do with physical. Physical is the secondary thing, you know, or third. I don't know. It's way down there. And once we understand and connect to that, we see all the wonderful things that start happening in this physical body. It starts all correcting itself, this and that, or the other, with no thing, you know. It's all being conducted through soul, and just awesomeness. So enjoy everything in life. Enjoy it all. We're gonna do some challenges here and there. And okay, we got another lesson to learn, and we keep going.
It's for purpose, for growth.
Always for a purpose. All the challenges we all have in our lives, there's a purpose for it. So we have to look beyond and try and understand what the purpose was that these experiences can happen in lives, right? Whether it's binge eating, or whether it's this, or whether it's that, or what's the purpose? There's a learning experience through that. So it's all by choice, but you know, we got to be prudent that when people are doing the longer fasts, when they're coming out, we really got to be prudent, because you're going into that state, you can hurt yourself. So why would you want to hurt yourself? Well, we're hurting ourselves all the time anyway. But why do we hurt ourselves more?
Yes, Gino, but I would say about that is also 95% people push themselves and they don't need to go as far.
Yeah, that's why we're saying don't do 108 days. Do a couple days a week, 2-3 days a week.
Yeah.
Start that. Because we've seen now that
it's a lifestyle.
People just don't want to comprehend it's a lifestyle. They want that magic fix. Do their fast and it's done. Everything's going to be solved. That's what people are expecting out there. And we've never, ever mentioned anything like that. Even though we've tried to make it as clear as we possibly can, people don't want to get it. Let's put it that way.
No, it's, you know, it's not easy. It doesn't, like, even you can read about it, but you think you got it, but when you experience it, it's different. You know, so it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, like most people are not experienced, and that's fine. They have to go through their own experience And so it's better to do it slowly so they can learn, including me, do it slowly. I mean, I have done very long fasts too, and I felt amazing. And, who knows, now my plan is, I love it. I just love it. I don't see myself like maximum 1 day a week. Even when I was eating, I knew wrong. I knew it was wrong. I knew I was abusing my body. 1 day a week maximum. Even with 1 day a week, I felt abused. So I knew a lot, but at the same time, when I was eating every day, I was like trapped. So it's hard to get out of it. And, I tell a new person to fasting, please do it slowly, because there's a lot to learn.
Well,
And you can learn a lot more when you're doing shorter ones.
Honestly, when I shared about 108 days, I honestly didn't think anybody would do it.
You were doing more that you would do, right?
No, I didn't plan for 108. I planned for I think 40 days originally, and
Yeah.
I gotta keep going. I feel amazing.
Yeah.
Keep going. I feel amazing.
60
That's what I did with
days, 90 days.
all my previous long fasts.
Yeah.
I went longer than what I planned for, and that happens. Sometimes you go shorter, sometimes you go longer. So, but I go. Nobody's gonna do this. There's no way. And then one guy, and then another guy, and another guy.
I was the first one after you.
Yeah, and then
I met him. He gave me my herbs. The next day, 108. But I already did 100 before I met Gino, like raw juice fast on my own 2 years before I met Gino. So I said to Gino, well, I did 100 before. I might as well, I can do 108. And he's like, okay. And I did it. It was just amazing. Like, I feel good after it. Like, the first few days, just better and better and better. The only thing was the weight loss. It was too much for my family. And, it was too much for them. And but now when I lose the same amount of weight, they don't bother me because they know I'm still alive. And now I'm married to him, so
yeah,
they can't talk to me anymore.
This lifestyle, like 3 days a week, the many master fast options, the hybrid, all this stuff. The information's always been there. But if it's not spelled out exactly, people
it's not about
cannot see it.
Yeah, for sure. You want to help people see it because it's not easy. You think it's easy, you get into it, and then when you come out, you experience it's not as easy as what you thought it was, right? So because people are not experienced, you have done it, you understand, but most people are not experienced, and we think it's simple to just go in and out. It's not. For a long fast is not.
I never said it was simple.
I honestly,
I mean easy. It's
don't think I would ever do 108 unless I want to go liquidarian. And I suggest for this to everybody, don't do 108 unless you really want to go. I mean, or at least you thought about liquidarian, like really, you sat by yourself and you said, okay, you know what? I just love the feeling when I fast, and I don't mind experimenting liquidarian. Like even just experimenting, like let's say you eat maybe in the future once in a while, like other than that, don't do liquidarian. It is not for everybody. Don't do 108. It's not for everybody. It's for people who are going like hardcore into liquidarian.
I agree with you, Rana. I 100% agree. While I'm talking to you, I want to ask David if he can answer your question. I know he can't speak because he's done breaks and fasts, and it'll be great to know his opinion of how he feels when he's fasting compared to breaking. And I agree with you both. I didn't agree with you when I first started because even though I educated myself, like I think I was a person that never asked you many questions, Gino and Rana. I think I was someone that was my thinking. When I came to the group, I actually thought everybody did master fast in some form. Either it might have been 108 days or it might have been a hybrid. That was my thinking because I was thinking, oh, well, why would you join this group unless you weren't going to actually take some action, right? Because I'm an action taker. If I decide to do something, I'm going to do it, and I'll throw myself into it because I have to have my personal experience like most of the people here. So I thought, okay, I thought like Jesus, 40 days, 40 nights was my first intention, and to be with the soul. So my intention was never about health. I think people know my story, but it was never about health. It was just to be in the presence. That was it. Because I had a glimpse of it when I did my 21 water day fast in March, beginning of that, this time last year. And so that was my way. And I thought when I listened to all the interviews, because I did do hours and hours of watching the interviews, because I am strategic and I wanted to manage all the risks that I could think of while I was in it, because I knew that a long fast is challenging. I knew that putting your body through that, there has to be some physical stuff that come up. So I intellectually knew that. And then listening to the interviews was probably the most powerful thing for me to do before entering into a 108, because I was able to prepare myself if any situations would potentially come up for me. And the breaking one, which everybody talks about, it is like a mantra with breaking from any of the long fasts, and the people that go back to eating and the challenges that they have. So the information's all there. And I think that you need to know if you're doing something like this, you really got to know your information before you go into the experience. So I probably was slightly ignorant, but I was very, I think I was wised up in the information, the preparing, the planning, the intention, the spiritual work, and all that sort of stuff to get myself into that place. And then as you go along, when you fast longer and longer, it becomes easier and easier, and then you go into bliss states, and then you have these new experiences that you haven't had before, and you've got to really trust God in that. And then, and I agree with you, Rana. I don't think many people will be ready for it unless they've done some spiritual work. They've done something or inner work, like Latrice says. There's got to be, the mindset's got to be right. Things have to be right, because whatever you're doing in your life currently is going to expand. It's spent massively when you're in a long fast. So if you're having challenges in your life emotionally, and there's, you're stuck in your mind and all that stuff, you don't think it's not going to come out when you're going to be doing a long fast. It's going to come out, and it's going to come out very fast, right? It comes up. And if you're not emotionally stable in some form, some people might be able to get through it, and this is something they may need, but I think majority of people need to take it slower. Just have those experiences, and you're definitely right about emotional stability, because if you haven't done that stuff beforehand or worked on some way, then I feel, those challenges will be a lot more for you, because it actually affects your whole life. Like I think Oliver said it before, because you affect your energy affects other people, and it affects the your value system and your priorities around in your other life and how you're living your lifestyle. So changes will automatically happen. And I think if you change your inside, your external is going to change. It has to do that. It has to be reflected outwards into the physical realm in some form. And even for me, Rana, as you know, my story of we let go of a lot of stuff. We did a lot of minimalizing. We changed a lot of stuff in our lives before I actually did this fast. So it was a very organic situation for me to personally get into. And it may not, it has to be a pull, not a push. It has to be a pull and organic. And people know that within them what that is.
Yeah, I regarding the challenges that people have, I think most people can handle the challenges when they are fasting much better than when they're eating, but it's after the fast. That's where the emotions become out of balance. During the fast, it's still manageable. It's actually much better than when you're eating. Like you can be the observer. Many people have told me like they're having, you know, issues with someone, but they're observing themselves. At least they're observing. Whereas before when they were eating, they could not even observe. They were just like, you know, in the middle of it. So I don't think people would break the fast because of emotional imbalance, but I believe they would when they break the fast to get back into a clean eating lifestyle. That requires a lot of, and yeah, you want to be strong when you do that. And you know, I just don't think it's necessary to go for very long. Maybe 40 days. You don't have to do 108 unless you really have decided to go liquidarian. Not you don't have to be 100% liquidarian. You can eat once in a while, but yeah, you're gonna be liquid. Otherwise, it's not fun. The body doesn't like it. It doesn't like it. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's just the body doesn't like it. Forget about the mind, or the body doesn't like it. It feels abused after a very like it's so happy and you know and pure, and then we bombard it with the food. Unless you really are, like once in a while you're eating, you know. Yeah. I understand for like deeper healing, you want to go deep. You want to like get rid of, like you're very determined. You have some kind of tumor and you're emotionally balanced and you want to get rid of that tumor. Of course, the longer you fast, the deeper you're healing. So I thought, of course, with 108 days, your body will heal much more. Yeah, yes, you might not heal completely because it takes years to heal, but you'll heal much deeper level. And many people have done well, but not everybody, right? Many people have done well after 108 days, but not the majority haven't. The majority haven't, and that's why we're gonna like make it more clear. It's not for everybody, and there will be different types that you can start with and slowly move your way up over the years.
Yeah, people would think this. They always reflect what kind of juice fast they've done, and that's the problem. This is the power of what you go through on an AFO, on a fast. There's nothing out there that you're going to experience like that. So in their mindset, you know, some people, oh, I've done juice fast, I've done this, I've eaten raw, fruitarian. Okay, it doesn't mean anything to me. If you've done Master Fast and you live Master Fast lifestyle, because it doesn't, there's absolutely no comparison. One, you're focusing on matter, the other one you're focusing on soul. So how can you put them in the same category? That you can't, and that's the challenge. People don't connect to the other side, right?
Gina, you've hit that nail on the head on that one. I think you've got to choose one path or another path, because the MFS realm is lots of soul work. There's a lot of, it's different. It's completely a different way compared to other fasts, you know, juice, raw, fruitarian, or, you know, paleo or any keto and those other millions of other ones that you can do. Yeah, this is unique and it's very, very different. So yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with juice fasting. David responded here, how to get back on hybrid before I stray too far. Feels like it's so easy to get backed up when eating. Yeah, of course. Doesn't matter what you eat, it's gonna back you up. And that's why even when I'm eating, I'm still doing Kalima's daily after my bowel movements, because I want to help relieve the body, you know, as much as I can, wash it out. But you know, doing the soul work, like when I started sharing this, I didn't even talk about plasma. Then I started opening up about plasma, and then I started getting into the soul stuff and everything. A little bit of time I started introducing, because already just introducing MFS was already something like some crazy guys. What's he coming up with? His cooked juice stuff, right? So I was, you know, giving off a little bit at a time, and see how people responded. And a lot of them didn't even know they were doing soul work when they're doing 108 days, right? But you have no choice but to do soul work when you go on these long digestive vacations. You have no choice. And the ones who resist and fight it, they're going to have a really hard time because they're going to try and get back to their old lifestyle, and they're going to be in a very miserable state, eating themselves back to obstruction, right? But you can get back to your old state. It'll take some time for the body to build up again, everything, you know, whatever months or years, or whatever, I don't know how long. But it will happen. You will get back to that state, you know, or worse, you know, whatever you want. Your wish, your command. So yeah, soul work, first and foremost, is what fasting is. Spiritual experience, whatever words we want to use. It's not so much of a physical thing. We're doing the physical things to access the other realms. And that's the beauty and the magic of where everything takes place. We're only seeing the effects in matter of what's happening from up there, right? From up there or wherever, from the other realms. It's not up, it's all over in every direction. So yeah, one day at a time, folks, one day at a time. Anything, you know, that's going to have, that's worth doing is worth putting effort for. So we need to chip away. Just like we mentioned, you know, to be an athlete, it ain't going to happen overnight. You're going to have to work your ass off to be an athlete. So just think of this type of lifestyles, you know, you need to work at it, and you need to work hard at it, and you need to be focused, and you need to gain some understanding of the process, which is vast and limitless of what really could go on. But we do have a basic understanding of what happens through these processes, through the fasting process and through back to eating. You know, there's processes that happen with the physical body, emotional body, mental body. And we just learn to embrace it and trust and keep moving forward at the pace that we're comfortable with. There's no rush. That's where people get in trouble, when they try and push themselves and they're emotionally not ready for what's coming to be through the fast. Because the fast it's easy when you get in that state. It's a beautiful state, but emotionally they're not prepared. When they go back to food, all hell breaks loose, and run into challenges. And then the confusion sets in, and their belief system, and everybody else told them that you were right. I told you, you know, you're going to kill yourself. And they go back into that, spiraling out the confusion again and start looking for all the things missing. And we see it over and over and over out there. I've seen this for 30 years and all the different things out there. There's no difference when people come through here and then they go and they just don't understand, have a little bit of, you know, grasp of what's actually going on. So it's a process, and like Ranjit said, the best thing is to watch and listen to all the different experiences of others and read, so you can get a little taste of what may or may not happen. Some people have real challenges, like just read people's posts. They're emotionally, whoa, just roller coaster rides. They're in pain, they're this and that, and they think they're dying, right? And the body's furthest thing from dying when you're in a fasting state. You know, unless you've been really, really, really butchered and you're not following protocol, you're doing whatever you're doing, and the body can't get rid of the obstructions it is loosened. Yeah, you can get yourself in big trouble. So that's what happened to me. But so, you know, we come to this with an understanding through the experiences, and we gain more and more of an understanding through all the other experiences of all you guys. And it's just beautiful to be able to connect like this and support each other and inspire each other over and over and over, because that's what's needed when you make such a drastic change in your lifestyle from everybody else around you. It's just, you know, how many people have had loved ones make comments? You know, we've had a couple share here. It happens all the time, because it's what we're doing is so far different than what's out there. Out there is all revolved around matter and eating and physical things, and we're going, yeah, okay, we've been there, we've done that. Now it's time to move on. So I can love and respect what you're doing if you want to stay in that realm, but I've moved on. And if you don't love and respect what I'm doing, I'm going to move on from your life. And I still love you. Ciao, ciao. Right? And, you know, we look at them and they're in pain and suffering and all that, but they just don't want to make the changes, right? They just want to put us down for making these changes in our lives. And it is what it is. It doesn't change. I've been doing this 3 decades, and that doesn't go away from other people. It just doesn't go away. Unless you go seclude yourself and you never see nobody, it's going to happen until, you know, you've set yourself in a state where whatever you put yourself in a state, reprogram yourself in the state where any negative comments that people make to me will only empower me more. And that's what I used to do. And I used to do things more and more and more. And I used to dig deeper because of negative comments, right? I used them as fuel. Thank you. But a lot of people that can't handle that, so stay away from it. Stay away from it.
Hey, Gina, that's really powerful, because if you think about any negative emotion, just say fear, because that's the biggest one that most people have. There's a fear. That fear has the same emotional power as excitement, right? So when you feel the fear or someone gives you fear, you can flip it so quickly into excitement and use it, what you just said, as fuel. It's a fuel, an energy that you can actually tap into. When something negative comes towards you, you flip it to a better meaning or an expansive meaning, and use that energy or the adrenaline from that or whatever it is, the power of it, and use it towards your intention. Because if you've got your intention set, which is an expected experience, right, then it has to come into manifestation. There is just no way out of it. The only thing is the doubts, right? That's the mind stuff that comes in between intentions and, you know, having it into this physical realm. It's just that in between bit. But yeah, like that's why I think like when you put Bruce Lipton up and about the subconscious mind stuff, you can just bypass. I mean, I know all the paradigms and everything's all there, but I feel you can just bypass that. Like you can just fuel that energy or whatever those paradigms are, negative stuff's coming at you. You fuel that power and you flip it in, and you're in the soul, and then you observe it and you can just flip it to your intention. You know, does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you can.
We have not been taught that we can change that energy. We have not been taught that. Of course you can.
But the soul can only guide you through that, because you can talk about it in a piece of paper. We can talk about it here, and people can intellectually understand it. But when you're actually in it and you do the transmutation of energy, or you flip that energy and you actually feel it, you know, deep within you, then the soul to guide you to do that. It's the only thing that can guide you to do that. I don't know how the mind can. I don't think the mind or the subconscious mind can. You can intellectually understand it through the conscious mind, because that's the creative stuff, right? So you can sort of, like what most people say, yeah, I know, you know, when you talk about the breaking, for instance, I notice people go, yeah, I know the protocols and the breaking, blah, 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 right? But until you actually physically are in it and doing it, that's the only way you get the experience and the understanding, because the conscious mind can only create, okay, I know place, right? But the unknowing place is the place that you've got to be in. So if you want to transmute energy fields or transmute what you're just saying, the only way you can do it is by being in the experience of the understanding, and the understanding can only come from the soul, because the soul's the only one that's going to guide you if you're going to bypass that subconscious mind. And when you bypass the subconscious mind, then you're with the conscious mind, right? And then the whole body's in that, and then you're into manifestation, I feel.
Yeah, like that's why I've shared this, because I used to do that a lot, because I was literally doing this all on my own, living this fasting lifestyle. And I continuously got bombarded, continuously, it never stopped. So, you know, if I gave into it, I wouldn't be here today. Fasting's what saved me many times. And all that crap that people were saying, I'm not experiencing what they're talking about. It's all bullshit. I'm feeling better and better and better. And I'm going to keep doing it. Thank you. So it fueled me, right? It fueled me to reinforce what I knew was that I was experiencing. People try to change what you're experiencing, change your belief of what that's what people try and do.
You can't do that, because
you know, that's what they're trying. Oh,
yeah.
you're too skinny, but you're going to die. You're going to see a doctor. What do you mean? I feel freaking amazing.
That's where you're going to be in the soul, because if, just say you were talking about athletes before, so say example, Michael Jordan, the biggest basketball, you know, like he knew in his conscious mind, his creative mind, the visual, the intention, it was there. And then he had to somehow go past the programming somehow, even though all those people were telling him, you can't do this, you're not going to be great, blah, 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 whatever, crap. And then, but he had to go into the soul in order to create what he wanted to create. So you are right, because people go back and listen to the old programs, and that's where the comfortable state is. That's where the comfortable zone, that's the knowing, that's the, you know, this is right, you know, this feels right. Like people say, oh, you know, my body told me to eat something. Like, your body's obstructed. It's not your body telling you to do that. It's your subconscious mind.
Yeah, when your body's obstructed, I would recommend never listen to it. And how long does it take to de-obstruct it? Years. Oh, you know, I listen to my body. I have to break the fast. Okay, sure. You know, 5, 10 days, 20 days, whatever. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to argue with them, but I would suggest don't listen to your body. Listen to soul. Tap into soul, and you'll get a completely different answer. Right? So, yeah, this is the juicy stuff. This is the juicy stuff that when we get into these things. Right?
I love these discussions. I could talk about this. You know, this is the stuff that's really, that fasting gets you to that place, or the uncomfortable place, and the uncomfortable zone, the unknowing zone. And, you know, if you break through something like this, doesn't have to be fasting, it could be anything else. You change your life. You literally change your life and people around you. Because then it's not about you anymore, as we know. It's about the bigger picture and the bigger vision. And you have to get uncomfortable, and you have to challenge usually the people that love and care about you. That's where the challenge is. That's where it is, because that's where those programs are. That's where the genetic is. That's where the blood stuff is. That's where you have to rise above and walk your lonely path with the other realm, which is not lonely, by the way. I find it, I'm much more happier and not alone at all. Quite the opposite. I was more lonely with all the crap shit going on. I was more lonely in that place, but I'm not lonely at all whatsoever. And everybody here would resonate with that. You know, every single person, because if you're in that state and you're out there in the garden or the plants or in nature, are you lonely? No way. What gratitude and grace do we have to experience that when you're not numbed out? Like, you are just, you know, sometimes I've got to tell the other dimensions to switch off, because they keep talking to me and downloading on me. I can't, there's too many downloads and imprints, you know, let me just, you know, take it bit by bit so I can have some conscious understanding. And it's just such a blessing. And when you see that, then you get more of it, and the more you get of it, it's not lonely at all. It's the opposite.
Alone, all one.
Right? Yeah, like that.
So yeah, like being in that lonely state, that's a very imbalanced state. And fasting will allow you to see that there's no such thing as loneliness. When you continue, you, like you were saying, you go the plants, whatever, just sitting there. You can be anywhere and you'll always be content. Doesn't matter where it is. Doesn't matter where it is. Like, you know, go to hell, you'll be in a content, perfect, peaceful place, because you've been able to, you know, manage all your different energy fields to keep it in that balance, no matter what's happening out there. And this takes training, right? It takes years and years and years of training. We keep doing it over and over, going and dwell into these realms, and we feel better and better and better actually being alone, you know, because you can't be alone. It's a possibility. There's infinite amount of energies all around you all the time, no matter where you are on this planet. So we'll keep working on it and tapping in and keep getting the downloads, and, you know, enjoy fasting. We enjoy eating, but we love fasting more. So it's such an amazing place to be, and continue. You know, I've been going this long. I'll keep going. I'll keep going, because no food has ever brought me.
No, and it's such an easier way to tap in. Like, I think it's the fastest way to tap in. It's so simple. Like, I don't want to meditate for 50,000, you know, like, I don't know, 50 years. I know meditation is great. I'd rather just fall into the meditative states. I don't want to push myself into it. And fasting just puts you right in there, in that spot. You just go, and you don't have to sit there. You know, I want to move my body. I don't want to sit. And it's just such a unique little, you know, trigger. And then you can, if you want to do chanting and you add that all to it, the 4-3-2 music, you just add, and that even becomes even more enlightened in a way, you know what I mean? Like, it's just more wonderful. And then you get these experiences, and it's just so beautiful, Gina. I love fasting so much. That's why I love the long digestive rests. You'll never ever get me off not ever long fasting, ever. I just love it too much, you know. And the roadmap to this was so safe, you know, doing the protocols and following them to a T, you know, doing the colonics and enemas and or Kalima boards and doing all that, you know, which is really simple. It's not a hard thing. And then, I don't know, it's a roadmap to bliss.
Yeah, it's you know, every aspect allows us to gain more and more of an understanding, you know. So I don't know what else we can share, but it's just your life becomes a meditative state as you're talking. It becomes a prayer. Everything you're doing becomes that state. You don't have to put a certain amount of time for it, because your whole life is that when you're in that state. You're in a prayer meditative state all the time. And then you do the rituals, you know, your Kalima, this, that, and everything. And you enhance those states by those, you know, through those rituals, because we're used to that thing, to those things. And we can do that. But yeah, you know, meditating is wonderful, prayer is wonderful, but live and be in those states 24 hours, 7 days a week. Instead of putting a certain amount of time aside, live it. And, you know, as you're going through the day, you know, you'll be tapping in, you'll get more and more downloads, and you'll see you are living that in those states when you're in those long fasting states. And it's an amazing place to be. These are the blissful states of, you know, accessing all the knowledge of one creation. You're just continuously accessing it. And it's always there. And then you wonder, well, how come I didn't see that before? Because you're not in that meditative prayer state 24/7, right? People who have done meditation for many years couldn't get into these states, and then they fasted and they understood the difference, big difference, night and day difference. So, you know, there's people who will be able to do it through meditating for years or whatever, because you're putting that intent and emotion into it. So you get to that, and you're putting the work and the effort from, you know, many years, just like anything else. But that's what I found is fasting gets us in these states much quicker, much quicker. And we work on that once we're in these states over and over and over again. It's a beautiful place to be, and a place that we want to go back to more and more and more. And we continue, right? We continue on those paths. My goodness, we're now 2 hours and a half. The time just it's awesome.
Especially when we talk about the juicy stuff,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the time flies when we talk about what's real. I love it. I love these conversations. So
You know,
I thank everybody.
the protocol's there. It's important, very important. So we prudent, be safe and everything. But the support, if you read the protocol enough times, you'll understand what to do. Anytime you're in trouble for whatever, it's emotional, enema is breath work. And you just make that your mantra. But the key is to be able to understand that everything is part of the process. Everything, no matter what you're going through, it's all part of the process. And just live it and love it, embrace it, jump for joy when the healing reactions come. But focus on the soul. The physical stuff is very straightforward, very simple, very organized that you can do it. It's much simpler than when you're eating, for sure. Even though you're doing your enema, your skin brushing, it's much simple to do things fasting. I have way more time, even though I'm doing all that stuff fasting. And when you're dry fast, you have even way more time, right? So it's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. And I don't know what more to say. This is the way I'm living. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but 3 decades almost and counting. I keep going. There's so many times the monkey mind wants you to quit, but no, I'm in control, not the monkey mind. And it's been a good pet. So I guess we'll wrap it up. It's gone long enough. We can keep going, but it's going to be too long. We can go for it next week and keep going into the juicy stuff, because this is where people will feel, I believe, more of a connection through soul. They won't even understand it, and they'll start wanting to get more and more information, because we're speaking at soul level, and that's the beauty of the support system. We're inspiring and supporting each other, and we continue. As long as I'm standing, I believe I'll keep doing this, because this is what I love to do. It's awesome to see people, watch people, listen to people completely transform their lives and take charge of their lives again. The ones who have the challenges and listen, they're always going to be around, and that's okay. But we don't focus on that. We focus on what's possible, which is everything. And we've seen it. Still, people do not want to believe it, right? Even though they see it, because once you believe it, you'll see it. Yeah. So let's leave it at that, and we'll call it a night. And thank you so much all again for joining. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. We continue to keep the plasma love always flowing. Whatever it means to you. We just came up with that terminology just to change from the direct, love and so on and so forth. Give it a new flavor. And love's been abused for way too long. And, it's usually the love that brings hate to people. Love-hate relationships. So we've changed the flavor and we brought new light to it, and we'll continue to keep the plasma love always flowing to infinity because it's always there. We just need to tap into it, right? It's always there.
Yep.
It doesn't matter where you are, with your plants, with people, with whatever, in the forest, in a busy street, it's always there. Just tap into it. Tap into it.
Love you, Rana. Rana just sent a message.
Yeah, you guys are all in control. Believe it or not. Learn to believe it because we are. Watch Bruce Lipton again. It'll give you a little more clarity, give you reassurance to get the intellect to work towards that. But we don't need the intellect. It's the beauty of what we're talking about. But it's okay for when we're transitioning to get that information. And we'll continue, guys. So thank you again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
thank you.
Thanks
Ciao,
for
ciao.
sharing. Have a great week.
Love you. Love you, everyone. Bye.
Love
Love
you
you.
too.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.